The offseason is in full swing for the Bills, and these trade rumors are escalating very quickly. Brandon Beane needs to go big or go home this offseason, and it looks like there are a ton of trade candidates that are popping up, and one in particular that could be very interesting for the Bills and Brandon Beane. So let's talk about it all right here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bills Digest. I'm your host, Anthony Senicar, and we are officially in the full swing of the Bills offseason. We got a new head coach. The draft is around the corner. Free agency is less than a month away, and there's going to be a ton of Bills news going on. The only issue is that 72% of you guys who are watching this video right now are not subscribed to the channel. Subscribe, join the army here at Bills Digest to stay in touch with all your latest Bills news, because we got you guys covered from wall to wall. And like I said, guys, Brandon Beane has not been someone, or has never been someone to shy away from big swings for big acquisitions. He went out and signed Von Miller in that 2021 or 2022 offseason because he knew he needed a pass rush. He went out and got Josh a wide receiver number one in Stephon Diggs, and it looks like the Bills are going to be in the market for receiver one, either via trade, via free agency, or via draft. And there's one name in particular that could be very interesting for the Bills. This report comes out that there's a potential trade proposal, if you would do it, if you would not, for Marvin Harrison Jr., the former 4th overall pick of the Arizona Cardinals, for a 2026 first and a 2024 4th round pick. Now, obviously, Marvin Harrison, highly touted out of college, out of Ohio State, son of former Hall of Fame wide receiver Marvin Harrison. And again, has had some down years. Last year in particular was very much a down year, with only 41 receptions for 608 yards, 4 touchdowns, and averaging about 14.8 yards per reception. Now again, the PFF grade, the guy had a stellar rookie year, but this year was not the best for him. There was a rotating door of quarterbacks. Started with Kyler Murray, that ended up with Jacoby Brissett, and then Michael Wilson came in there, kind of took the lion's share of the receiving core next to Trey McBride, and kind of pushed Marvin Harrison down to the side. There was a point in the season where he didn't get over 50 yards receiving. Had that one big game, I believe it was against the Cowboys on prime time, where he exploded for over 100 yards receiving. Was, again, still a very good receiver, but slumps very much in Arizona. And I think one of those change of scenery trades like this could be very interesting for the Bills. As of right now, the Bills receiver depth room is a complete mess. You got Joshua Palmer on that big contract, still 2 years left. You have Khalil Shakir, who is on that big contract, still a very good receiver, which you're not going to move off of. Tyrell Shavers, torn ACL, so he's not going to be back anytime next season. Keon Coleman, we know the whole story there with Keon and what the expectations might be this year. In Joe Brady's media availability after his opening press conference, he did slam on the table and say, I am going to be the best case scenario for Keon Coleman, so we'll see what happens there. Curtis Samuel, which has been the disappointment of disappointments. And then McCole Hardman, Christian Wilkerson, and Steven Gosnell are all practice squad guys. So as of right now, the Bills receiver room looks like Palmer, Shakir, Keon. Because I believe the best out for the Bills right now is getting out of Curtis Samuel's current contract, which would only be $3.4 million of dead cap. They got to get out of that contract, cut it dry, let him loose. It's been disappointing for the Bills. When they first signed him, I was very excited, but it's been a completely disappointment. The Bills need a separator, and someone like Marvin Harrison Jr., a former top 5 overall pick, with still on his rookie contract, still has 2 more years, plus the club option for that 5th-year option. Again, cap hit, $9 million this year, $10 million next year, and then obviously the club option would be, the 5th-year option, I believe, would be $15 or $16 million, based off of what I remember correctly. Now, again, what the Bills could do is they could trade up, try and get into that top 10, try and get one of those receivers, or go for a Marvin Harrison type. They already have Michael Wilson in. They're going to have a new coach coming in there. Kyler Murray is definitely going to be gone or traded at one point. maybe they can take advantage of a new, fresh identity with the Arizona Cardinals and their GM. Maybe they want to go all in, make Michael Wilson their starting receiver one, get some draft capital back for Marvin Harrison Jr., a first-round pick and a fourth-round pick, maybe even more. If you want to toss in a Keon Coleman, if they want another prospect in there, maybe a second-round pick, something like that. The Bills are still going to get someone who is a proven talent in the NFL, and Marvin Harrison Jr., a former top 5 pick who everybody thought was going to be a lock for, and at this point going into his career, one of the best receivers in the league. Obviously, it's been a disappointment, but still on his rookie contract, so you're going to have that rookie contract for 2 or 3 more years. So again, still flexibility to work around with the cap. If the Bills traded up, they'd also have a rookie receiver on a rookie contract for the next 5 years. At this point, you're going to have someone for the next 3 years on a rookie contract. Gives you flexibility to make moves and acquisitions in other parts. And with where the Bills are picking right now, which I believe is 23rd or 24th, you're not going to find a receiver with that much talent or someone who could have that much talent when you get into the season. But as of right now, the way the board falls, the talent level from Marvin Harrison Jr. to what you're going to have with that 24th pick for a receiver is vastly different. You still got someone on that rookie contract, maybe a change of scenery, kind of like the Stephon Diggs trade. Bring him in here, put him with a potential Hall of Fame quarterback in Josh Allen, in my opinion, a Hall of Fame quarterback in Josh Allen, and a Joe Brady system where you already have pieces around. You got a Khalil Shakir, who is your slot guy. You're going to have a Joshua Palmer who's still going to be here for another 2 years. There's no getting out of that contract. I don't see the Bills moving off of that contract so quickly. If you line up with a Marvin Harrison Jr. as your X, you have Joshua Palmer on the outside as your Y, you have Shakir in the slot with a Dalton Kincaid in the slot. That is something the Bills can work off. Moves Keon Coleman back into that receiver 3 role where he can kind of learn and grow. You're going to have Tyrell Shavers, who's on IR. So, again, that's something you can do with later on. And you can draft someone later in one of the later rounds. Go and look at 4th or 5th, someone to come in and kind of be that special teams and receiver guy. You can go and get Brandon Cooks, potentially bring him back on a cheap contract. If you go into next season with a Marvin Harrison Jr., a Khalil Shakir, a Joshua Palmer, a Keon Coleman, a Brandon Cooks, and then a rookie on a 4th or 5th rookie who can surprise in training camp, and you get rid of Keon Coleman and you kind of cut that loose. That could be very interesting, and I think a trade like this could potentially be something the Bills could look to do. Again, the Bills have always had an issue with separators and separation, and Marvin Harrison Jr. is not an elite separator per se, but he is still a very good separator. The separation percentage on the dig route, 25%, curl route, 15%, out route. He is winning constantly on pretty basic routes, which could help the Bills a ton, and where the Bills really lacked issues last year. Let's not forget, Brandon Cooks came in here late last season, and by the end of the year, he was Josh's most reliable target. Why? Because he was winning constantly on simple routes, kind of like how Marvin Harrison, on basic outs against the Broncos, you saw Brandon Cooks get separation, and Josh was hitting that out route quickly. Digs, curls, a lot of that basic routes where Keon Coleman was struggling to separate, Joshua Palmer was struggling to separate because of probably his injury. Curtis Samuel was not reliable. Brandon Cooks comes in and was honestly the number 1 option for Josh Allen because he was getting separation constantly. If the Bills can bring in someone like a Marvin Harrison Jr. for a price point of a first-round pick and some extra draft picks, why would you not make the move? You're going to get someone who is still on a rookie deal for a cheap contract, someone who is a top 5 talent, only 2 years removed from that draft, has obviously all the skill sets, all the tools to be one of the best receivers in the league. Change of scenery, a new quarterback, a new kind of viewpoint and everything could really unlock something, kind of how Stephon Diggs was the same way. Now, again, it's doable in the aspect of contracts. You got to move off of Curtis Samuel. I think that is clean, cut, and dry. That Curtis Samuel is not going to be on this team next year. It is just the assets that you want to give up and make a trade for this. This could be a very interesting trade if the Bills want to pursue it. But I want to hear from you guys down below. What are your thoughts on this trade, on a potential Marvin Harrison trade? What are your thoughts on Marvin Harrison Jr.? Would you guys give up a first and potentially a second and a fourth, or just a first and a fourth, like that mock trade said? Or is there someone out there? Do you want to go after an A.J. Brown? Do you want to go after a Brandon Ayuk, who, again, right now, no one really knows what's going on there? Do you want to go after potentially one of the guys out in free agency, Alec Pierce? What is the best case scenario for you guys right now with this new coaching staff, with the ideology that Joe Brady brings to this offense, and now with Brandon Beane probably going to be trigger happy to kind of swing for the fences and go all in for the next 2 years? What are your guys' expectations of players that might fit the mold and receivers that might fit the mold of what the Bills want to do? Want to hear from you guys down below. On top of that, if you are not subscribed, subscribe down below. We got you guys covered with all your latest Bills news. The offseason is in full swing. Free agency is around the corner, which is going to be a lot of moves. Draft is just a few months away. The coaching staff is slowly filling out. I think this is going to be a crucial offseason for the Bills, and we're going to have you guys covered with all your latest Bills news here at Bills Digest. So subscribe below. As always, guys, subscribe, stay in touch, stay informed, and go Bills.